इसकी ब्राइटनेस इसकी ब्राइटनेस पूरा स्लाइडिंग
In courts of justice, pure and right, you've shone with wisdom, grace and might. Justice Kohli, a trailblazer rare, a woman who has led with unmatched care. From halls of high courts to heights supreme, you've fulfilled a visionary dream. A beacon shining, bold and clear, you've set apart for all to rever. With courage strong and judgment fair, you've reached the pinnacle with rare flair. Your legacy, a guiding flight, in every courtroom speaks your name. As you embark on journeys new, our heartfelt thanks and praises to you, a rare woman who has led the way. Your example lights a bright new day. Namaste and a very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Pragya Parijat Singh, and on behalf of entire Executive Committee of SCAORA, I welcome you all to bid adieu to our ever so revered Justice Hima Kohli. Born on September 2, 1959 in Delhi, she has always been an indomitable spirit. Ma'am pursued her education at St. Thomas School in Delhi, followed by an undergraduate degree from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, after which she completed her LLB at the Law Faculty Campus Law Center from University of Delhi in 1980. In her luminous legal career, Ma'am has been the standing counsel and legal advisor of the New Delhi Municipal Council in the Delhi High Court from 1999 to 2004. In addition, she has been a standing counsel civil to Government of NCT in Delhi High Court from December 2004, representing the Government of Delhi in several important matters. She has also been a legal advisor to the Public Grievance Commission, Delhi Pollution Control Committee, National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, National Cooperative Development Corporation and other private organizations, banks, etc., while also contributing her time as a member of the Delhi High Court Legal Services Committee. Ma'am was appointed as an additional judge of the Delhi High Court on 29th May 2006 and took oath as a permanent judge on 29th August 2007. She was sworn in as the Chief Justice of High Court for the state of Telangana on 7th January 2021 and appointed as Judge of the Supreme Court of India on 31st August 2021. We welcome you, ma'am. May I now call upon my colleague Ms. Asta Sharma for the welcome address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are gathered here to honor and bid farewell to Justice Hima Kohli, whose legal journey spanning 40 years has not only been remarkable, but her tenure at the Supreme Court has been marked by wisdom, integrity, and a profound commitment to justice. During her time on the bench, she has, with a steady hand and a keen mind, navigated the complexities of the law and upheld the principles of justice with unwavering dedication, and has truly shown that the true measure of a judge is not just in the decisions, but in the capacity to listen and consider the human element behind the law. Over the years, through her judgments, Ma'am has consistently demonstrated her commitment to safeguarding the rights of the marginalized, reinforcing the rule of law, and ensuring that justice is accessible to all. Her judicial philosophy is evident in the way she approaches complex legal questions with the balance of empathy and rigor. I still remember that the newly minted me in the year 2010 entered her court for the first time representing BSES after being instructed to take a passover no matter what. Not knowing that even who am I appearing for, or that if I am going for an adjournment I should at least know what the file says. Ma'am asked certain questions which I had no response to. So her next question was, how long have you been enrolled? I said 4 days. Without lashing on to me, Ma'am said, Counsel, as a fresher, you might not know the law, but you know how to read. At least read the file and come to my court for the next time. That is a mark of a good lawyer. And I have held on to that since the last 14 years while making sure that everyone from my office now reads the file, even if it's for a passover or an adjournment. While there have been times when the younger members of the bar have struggled in her court, not only has ma'am encouraged them to take their time and present their cases, but has also restrained some seniors member from intimidating the younger colleagues, which have been such a confidence booster for all of us. In a country where women's education and careers are secondary to that of the men in their homes, Justice Kohli is an inspiration to our women across the country, women who always second guess whether the hard work is actually worth it and whether they will actually ever achieve anything worth remembering or even mentioning. Justice Kohli's landmark rulings are indicative as to how her interpretations of law have addressed issues such as women empowerment, gender equality, constitutional rights, and have set precedents that will guide the judiciary for years to come. In Pegasus Fiver, order passed in May 2022, Justice Kohli was part of the three-judge bench that addressed the serious allegations of spyware attacks and their implications over citizens' fundamental right to privacy. This landmark ruling emphasizes that concerns of national security cannot be used as a pretext to avoid judicial review. Often heralded as a firm defender for women's rights and empowerment, Justice Kohli, in the landmark judgment passed in Aureliano Fernandez in May 23, addressed critical lapses in the implementation of the POSH Act and issued extensive directions to several parties, including states, to enforce the law effectively. In October 23, ma'am was also a part of the 5-judge constitution bench that deliberated on the legal recognition of same-sex marriage in India and the constitutionality of the Special Marriage Act 1954. In this significant judgment, the bench upheld the constitutionality of the Special Marriage Act by affirming that its sole intention was to facilitate interfaith marriages rather than non-heterosexual unions. In April 24, while addressing the plea for prison reforms in rehuman conditions, ma'am rightfully observed that the grim and overcrowded conditions in prisons augmented the health issues of inmates, asserting that such conditions are inconsistent with the principles of humane punishment. In May 24, Justice Hima Kohli's bench issued a pivotal order in Indian Medical Association, holding Patanjali Ayurved accountable for disseminating misleading advertisements across various online platforms and restraining the company from any further promotional activities. On behalf of the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, I welcome you all to honor Honorable Justice Hima Kohli's dedication to the legal system over the past several years and to celebrate her achievements, which have always inspired each and every member of the bar. And I am sure will continue to do so for times to come. Ma'am, we are privileged to be here today to bid you farewell as you embark on this new chapter and hope that the future brings you continued fulfillment and joy. From starting your legal journey from the boot of your car to becoming a judge of the top court of the biggest democracy in the world is a story worth telling, ma'am, one that generations to come will want to hear over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asta ji, for those opening remarks. May I now call upon Ms. Reena Pandey, ma'am, for gifting the planter to beloved Honorable Justice Hima Kohli. I would further request our SCAORA President, Mr. Vipin Nair, SCAORA Vice President, Mr. Amit Sharma, and SCAORA Secretary, Mr. Nikhil Jain sir, to collectively present a token of appreciation for ma'am on our behalf.
Please. Please, sir.
Thank you. Sorry, ma'am, we'll be troubling you a little more. May I now request Honorable Justice Hima Kohli, whom you've all gathered here to listen. Over to you, ma'am.
Very good evening. No written speeches here. Nothing in writing, no files. Just an interaction to meet you all and to thank you. It's been a wonderful journey. And I was just telling your executive members that persons like me who are residents of Delhi find it so easy to slip into the Supreme Court's mode. And that's thanks to all of you who make us comfortable, though it's just a 4-kilometer journey from here to Supreme Court, from Delhi High Court to Supreme Court. Fact of the matter is that we've seen so many of you appear in the High Court. We have interacted with you at different forums. For persons like me, it's like being in Supreme Court was also like coming home, for the reason that I started my career here. When I became a lawyer in '84, I worked in the chambers of Justice Nanda Bhandare for a couple of months and found myself feeling like a fish out of water, for the simple reason that when you're such a newbie, nobody is willing to give you a brief to prepare an argument. And I thought that I needed to learn something before I came here. That learning went on for a long time in the High Court and ended with my becoming a judge of that court. But the learning didn't end. My career as a lawyer took off on a different direction. And after elevation, we had the pleasure of frequent interactions with so many of the young members of the bar who are now seniors, who are now designated. It is such a pleasure to know that such a large number of AORs have been designated as seniors in this batch and the last batch, which only goes to show how hard the lawyers have been working to make their mark in the career and how well they have been presenting their matters before us. That's only a recognition of the court, of the good work that has been done by the members of the bar. And I always say that all of us who are on the bench remain always part of the bar because we've all risen from the bar. Wherever we may be, whichever bar it may be, it could be at the district court bar, it could be the high court bar. End of the day, this is the learning ground. This is the nursery for all of us, whether we become senior advocates, AORs, or we get elevated to the bench. And the only thing, and I was sharing with the executive members, was that once your license is suspended, if that doesn't get, you don't go back to practice and that's it, but in spirit, you remain a member of the bar, which is true for at least I can say for myself. And it was just being said that, yes, I started my career from the boot of my car, and I was jokingly saying that I'm not letting my boots hang. If you could substitute with boots, it could be sandals, purses, or whatever. But the idea is that work will continue. This is one part of one's life that is halted for another door to open. And I think that's true for all of us. As we graduate, when we are young lawyers, we are aspiring to become seniors, we are aspiring to become AORs, we work towards that goal. And when we are AORs with experience, one works towards becoming a senior designate and getting the silk. And once you are a senior designate, there is another journey which could take you in the direction of becoming a judge, if that is what is in store for you. It's all a question of where the journey takes you, and sometimes it's best, according to me, to flow with the tide. You can't anticipate everything. You can't plan everything. You, I think, can certainly work hard, which is in our hands, wherever we are. Working hard, gaining knowledge, and acquiring friends within this circle, which is the most important thing. Because many times, if you go to a non-legal get-together party, many of you must be feeling out of sorts. We are so used to talking law and legal even outside the courts. That is how we are. Though of course it's a different matter that many of the family members are pretty fed up of us. Unless there are others in the family who are familiar with how law and courts work, they think we have nothing to do except discuss courts and matters and so on and so forth. But that goes with the territory, I guess. You can't make small of that. It's a fact that it happens. So as I said, it's a journey. It's been a very good journey for me. God is kind. It is the grace of the Almighty. I have learned under my mentors, just as all of us have been doing here, and I must acknowledge their contribution to where I am today. This kind of interaction which we have, that Guru Shishya Pratha, at some level is so important to learn under your senior and then to train others when you go up. And that's how the cycle keeps moving. So we have learned under our seniors, many of our seniors here have groomed us. We've gone up and given back to our own youngsters by teaching them some things which we had carried with us. So that's equally important. One, to acknowledge the senior, to acknowledge anybody who has taught you something in life at your workplace. I'll share with you once, I still remember that we had a senior lady lawyer, not a designated. That time in 80s there weren't any senior women designates, unlike now. It is such a good change. And I didn't know how to fill up a process fee form. So normally it would be the court clerk who was supposed to do this work. It was never for us. And court clerks manage to ordinarily keep their domain to themselves. It's not very often that you learn under them. They don't like interference, especially from greenhorns at that time. So I was at a loss. It was vacation time. We had an injunction in our hand but didn't know how to fill up the form to file the process fee for effecting service. And I still haven't forgotten that I went across the chamber to Mrs. Usha Kumar, who was a neighbor there, knocked at the doors and said, "Ma'am, what do I do with this form?" I didn't know that it was 0.75 paise per person after 3 rupees of court fee for the first form. And that was a hard lesson I learned. And she said, "What? This is nothing. Come here, sit down." And I haven't forgotten how kindly she took me through that and said, "Okay, this is it. Now fill up the form, put the copies." And at that time, nothing was by e-filing. Everything was physical. Rush to that particular window and the counter and deposit it. And I thought I had achieved something stupendous. I was so thrilled with life. But these are things also which stood us in good stead. If you don't know where to start from, and you just assume everything will be done by the court clerk, you're left flailing if the court clerk's not there. So these basic things which we learned as we went along stood us in really good stead. We were confident that even if he or somebody was not there, we could do it. We could manage to do these things. And those were experiences that continued over a period. Another very bright example I remember was the first time I was appointed as a local commissioner by the court. So you felt like the cat's whiskers. You were a local commissioner as in representing the court. What could be better than that as a youngster, maybe 1 year old practice and all that. And when it came to drafting the report, I didn't know how to go about it. So we were guided by some friends who had done local commissions. कि इस तरह करो, थोड़ा सा ये भर दो, फिर नीचे क्या लिखो, so on so forth किया. And still I was not confident. So I remember one of my friends was with Mr. M.L. Verma, Senior Advocates Chamber, was for a brief time a judge of the Delhi High Court. And we entered and I said, "Sir, I don't know how to finally, wrap it up. What do you say at the end?" So he said, "That's so simple, come here." And he left his conference. He sat and went through that little 4-page report to guide me through it and tell me what all did I have to say at the end. And there are no prayers. It's a local commissioner's report. It's only to be taken on record. These are small things, but the compassion and the kindness of the seniors who were there for us stays in my mind even now. I'm sure all of you must have had these experiences from time to time that help mold us into better human beings. Maybe we are more compassionate, we are more considerate to the younger members, we are more warm towards the clients who come completely blank in court. And then this is the final court. At the end of the day, it is a heavy mantle for all of you also to wear as AORs, because there is nothing beyond it. Whatever you do for a client, and whatever on the basis of that the court decides, there are no appeals. So it is heavier on all of you. If you are able to discharge your duties towards your clients in the real manner that it is to be, that is very important for the consumer of the justice. They are ultimately the stakeholders. I haven't forgotten that when the grand staircase used to be our entrance all the time. Many of us would take a shortcut from the side stairs, but many times the grand staircase. And when there were times when the clients would like to come and watch the hearings, I went with a family friend and saw that there was somebody from a village, a rural person. He actually bent, kneeled, and then went up, because that was the final court. There was nothing beyond it. So we don't say that our court is a court. That is why we say it's a temple of justice. These are some of the things that I recall and I've shared with you. I wish you all the best. I hope you continue to carry the mantle of AORs as effectively and as confidently and as efficiently as you all have been doing. You are the arms of the court. Without your presence, without your assistance, there can be no dispensation of justice. And that is how important you are to the system. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing those realistic anecdotes and your beautiful sojourn with us. Moving on, may I now request my colleague, Dr. Meenakshi Kalra, to give a vote of thanks.
First of all, I would thank you, ma'am, for being so gentle and humble. The crowd here is a witness that you're an inspiration for all of us. I'm really short of words today. However, it's an inspiration. We all will miss being extra prepared to appear before your lordships. It was an extra task that we had to do, be accurate on all the points, because anything could have been taken up, and your lordships were actually very cooperative with the young generation, which is inspiration. I thank you, ma'am. You're a living example how a person can be so humble and still reach the highest judiciary. And we are very blessed to have you on the board. We wish that you finally take out time for your family, for your friends, and for a little coffee with your sister. I, on behalf of the whole Executive Committee of Supreme Court's Advocate on Record Association, thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. I wish you a successful tenure, and I hope that you continue to do the good outside the court as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. We are grateful to everyone here present. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Meenakshi ji. With that, we have come to an end of the ceremony. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Supreme Court is going to miss you.
I want to so nice to see loss
that your age has been disclosed.
That's a good
So
one.
now galti ho gayi hai.
Thank you so much for being here to listen to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you all for assembling here. The refreshments will be served outside the lounge. Thank you.
Thank you.